Welcome to the Stoicism Wisdom Life channel. We hope you will have fun with us. Enjoy watching. Good afternoon, everyone. I want to tell you my story. Perhaps to some, it will seem a bit strange, but nevertheless, I am 42 years old and my ex-husband is 43. In total, we lived together for 20 years. The kids are grown. Our daughter graduated from high school, successfully married at 18, and she and her husband immigrated to Canada. Our son joined the army and left too. In the end, it was just the two of us. Needless to say, over the years, my feelings have dulled, at least mine for him. If before we were connected by the children, now only everyday life. Sometimes we watched soap operas together, sometimes we had sex at best once a week, and it was bland, colorless, and monotonous. Lately, we've been living our own lives. And with him, I just got bored. As my daughter says, I lacked drive. We just didn't have anything to even talk about. I eventually began to realize that Ethan, my husband, is not the man with whom I would like to meet old age. Then he came into my life, John. He's 4 years younger than me, strong-willed, temperamental, with a sense of humor. He divorced his wife 2 years ago. She literally screwed him and left him homeless and without property. To sue her was beneath his dignity, and he began to live with his parents. I met him at work. He was the driver of our corporate bus, and he was the last one to take me from my shift. I realized I was in love. John had something that was missing in my husband. Our love affair grew wildly, talking about common topics, hugging, kissing, sex. I couldn't live a double life and lie, so I told my husband everything. I really felt sorry for him because, as a person, he is not bad. So many years we are connected. Another fact is that this apartment in which we lived was bought by my parents for me before the wedding, and his own home he did not have. His late mother's apartment is occupied by his younger brother with his wife and 3 children, and he would not be welcome there, and there would be no place for him. You can't just throw him out on the street. First of all, there's no reason, and secondly, the kids would never forgive me. Anyway, he was shocked by the news and even more traumatized by the fact that I was going to live with John in our house. He cried and sighed and said, "It's yours. Bring whoever you want." We finalized the divorce. He took our daughter's room, and John moved in with me. Ethan seemed to accept it, but he was jealous of John. There were clashes with him, and it came to fights. We often had to call the police. He threw John's things on the street, but John did not allow well. A man can be understood after all. "Where are you taking him in the cold?" he said. They never spoke after that. But one day, I went to town on business. I was gone all day. I come back and hear my ex's voice in the kitchen. Fragments of phrases. I still love her, and for me, the main thing is that she is happy. But you know, if you hurt her, I'll rip you apart personally. I go into the kitchen and see both of them, already drunk at the table, appetizers out, and looking at me guiltily. "Hey, we're here." They've been friends ever since. In the evenings, they play backgammon, discuss soccer, argue about politics, go fishing together. I gradually started cooking for the 3 of us, taking Ethan's dirty clothes to the laundry. The 2 of them did a beautiful renovation of the apartment. When I got sick once, they both never left my side. We celebrated all the holidays together too. For his birthday, Ethan gave John the latest model of Apple, and then he didn't stay in debt either. I looked at Ethan and wondered if I had done the right thing. Had I made a mistake? I was getting used to John too, and I wasn't going to break up with him. But at the same time, I was starting to feel Ethan's old feelings for me as a man. I began to imagine us having a threesome, and it turned me on even more. I jokingly mentioned my sexual fantasies to John. To be honest, I was surprised by his reaction. "What's the big deal? We only live once. Everything in life should be tried, and I feel sorry for your man. He's like a brother to me. He's been without a woman for a long time. I'd probably go crazy if I were him. He told me that he tried to set him up with a woman who works as a dispatcher in a convoy. A widow. She'd been without a man for 3 years, but he wouldn't let her. I was surprised when I found out that he'd never had a woman after me. I asked him, how can I offer it to him now? I don't know how else he'll react. He told me not to worry. He'd take care of it. So a few days later, John tells me, happy to tell me, he's done it. What it cost him? But he's in. He said, laughing, that if everything went well, we'd have to order a new bed. That weekend, we set the table in the bedroom, put on some cognac, and it happened. At first, my men were a little stiff. Ethan was shy. It was new to him. I was laughing out of the blue. But then we got drunk, caught the rhythm, and got into the rage. It was fantastic. We tried everything. I fondled both of them at once. There was helicopter and double penetration. John was the first one out. He sat down at the table, smoked, drank, and cheered Ethan and me up, making faces and clapping his hands in rhythm. I was laughing again, but Ethan didn't stop, and I could feel that he was poor and really hungry for a woman's caress. Then John joined in again. The men changed from time to time. We interrupted purely to have a snack and a drink. Eventually, exhausted, we fell asleep. In the morning, we slept. Then there was a second series of a couple of 3 times. And then the 3 of us discussed how we were going to live our lives. John said to me, why, that's what we're going to do. If you'd thought of this kind of variety in your lives earlier, maybe we wouldn't have had to split up. We thought about how to tell it to the kids. Now Ethan said, why would they need to know the details? He's just my classmate. That's all. And that's how we started living. Sex is now daily. Sometimes when John or Ethan is tired or not in the mood, he just says, you start, and I'll join you later. Sometimes he joins in, and sometimes he falls asleep. But it never happens that both of them are not in the mood. I know that many will condemn me and throw stones at me, but I can tell you that I am really happy with both of them. For me to break up with one of them now, yes, never in my life. Choosing one of them is like choosing whether to lose my right or left arm. I love them very much and equally. I'm not asking for advice, and please don't insult me or my men. I warn prudes, false moralists, and the evil will be mercilessly ignored. Dear friends, thank you very much for watching. Leave comments, put likes, share it with friends, and subscribe to the channel.